Hello and welcome. For those of you interested in well-being, purpose, living a richer life, today we're doing a deep dive into Ikigai. It's this really fascinating concept from Japanese wisdom, all about the art of living. We're going to explore it together. Yeah, our main source today is this fantastic book. It really weaves together ancient philosophy with modern psychology insights. Think of this as your guide, really. We're pulling out the core ideas from the source to help you understand and hopefully live your own Ikigai. So our mission here is simple. Get to the heart of it. Help you grasp what living your Ikigai means, and maybe more importantly, how you can bring its principles into your own life. For more longevity, more joy, more resilience. Let's get into it.
It's really interesting, isn't it, how Ikigai, this reason for being or passion, how it connects with ideas from Western psychology, even some that aren't maybe top of mind right now, like Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. His whole approach was about helping people find their purpose. And even if it's not the main therapy people talk about today, it still taps into that deep, universal human need for meaning.
That's a great connection. And Frankl's idea of purpose, it sounds almost, the opposite of just wanting a peaceful, quiet life, doesn't it? You talk about health coming from this natural tension, like striving for something, facing a challenge, using all your skills. That's what brings health, not just chilling out. Can you maybe unpack that a bit?
Absolutely. Frankl really saw meaning being forged in the fires of challenge. His case studies are, they're quite striking. Take the American diplomat he worked with. This guy hated his job, hated his country's policies. He'd seen a psychoanalyst before who just kept digging into his relationship with his father, but Frankl, he just cut right through it. He saw the core issue was simpler. The diplomat desperately wanted a different career path. That was the real source of his tension, his search for purpose elsewhere.
Wow, just getting straight to the point, no messing around. Were there other cases like that where his insight just clicked, maybe even more, profoundly?
Oh, definitely. There was this incredibly moving session, a group session, actually, with a mother who felt suicidal. Frankl asked another woman in the group to imagine being on her deathbed, rich but childless. And she admitted tearfully her life would feel like a failure. Then he asked the suicidal mother to do the same. And when she imagined her deathbed, it suddenly hit her. She'd done everything she possibly could for her paralyzed son, given him a good life. She just broke down, realizing my life was full of meaning. I did my best for my son. My life wasn't a failure. It was this huge recognition of purpose already lived.
That's incredibly powerful. Finding meaning right there in what she'd already done, not some future goal.
And one more quickly. A doctor, just consumed by grief after his wife died, Frankl asked him a simple question. What if you had died first? The doctor was horrified, said his wife would have suffered terribly. And Frankl replied, "You see, doctor, you spared her that, and the price is you survive and mourn her." It completely reframed his suffering. Not as pointless pain, but as a meaningful act. A sacrifice, almost.
Such a unique perspective shift. Amazing. Okay, so that's grappling with purpose. But what about managing our inner world, our emotions? The book talks about Miralles therapy, a Japanese approach. How's that different from, say, Western ideas about controlling feelings?
Right. Miralles therapy is really about acceptance. That's the core. Accept your feelings. Don't try to control them directly. The idea is your feelings change based on your actions, not because you wrestle them into submission. It's like that Zen analogy. Try to get rid of one wave with another. You end up with an infinite sea. Emotions are like the weather. You just observe them. Thich Nhat Hanh put it beautifully, didn't he? Greeting difficult feelings like, "Hello, solitude. Come, sit with me." It's about welcoming, not battling.
Welcoming, not battling. I like that. So purpose, acceptance. What about the nuts and bolts, the daily stuff? Are there specific Japanese habits for longevity tied into all this?
Oh, absolutely. One of the most famous, you've probably heard it, is hara hachibu.
Right, the 80% rule.
Exactly. Fill your belly to 80%. It's ancient wisdom, especially common in Okinawa. Stop eating when you're starting to feel full, not when you're completely stuffed. The thinking is it prevents wearing down our bodies with long digestive processes that accelerate cellular oxidation. Basically, don't overload the system. So the real lesson, skip that extra side dish, maybe pass on the dessert sometimes, just stop a bit earlier. And you notice in Japan, food often comes on lots of small plates, right? That naturally helps with portion control and getting variety, avoiding that stuffed feeling. It's mindful living, really.
Yeah, mindful eating is a way of life, not just a diet fad. That makes sense. It also brings to mind that old saying, a sound mind and a sound body. Mens sana in corpore sano. How crucial is keeping the mind active for longevity?
Oh, it's fundamental. An active, adaptable mind is one of the key factors in staying young. Our brains need exercise just like our bodies. Without mental workouts, our neurons or neural connections, they just start to degrade. There's a neuroscientist, Shlomo Breznitz, who really emphasizes this. He points out how we tend to fall into routines, especially as we age, but that's when the brain kind of switches off. So to keep it vital, you have to confront it with new information, challenge it, break those routines. It creates new connections. And yeah, maybe it causes a little bit of anxiety stepping out of the comfort zone, but Breznitz argues that's actually a good sign, a sign of growth.
So it's more than just crosswords. It's about genuine mental stretching. And the benefits go beyond just brain health, right? Like better mood, feeling better about yourself.
Exactly. So the key things: keep learning, stay curious, maybe play some games, definitely interact with people, consistent intellectual activity. Our neurons actually start aging way earlier than we think, like in our 20s. But these activities, they genuinely slow that down, keep us sharp.
That's good to know, and very practical. So pulling back a bit, what are some of those small, maybe seemingly minor daily habits that the sources highlight as really important for a long, purposeful life?
Right, these aren't just random health tips. They're about building the capacity to live your purpose, your Ikigai. Things like walking at least 20 minutes a day, taking the stairs, simple stuff, finding social activities, things you enjoy instead of just defaulting to TV, swapping junk food for fruit, getting enough sleep, that 7 to 9 hour sweet spot. Too much actually makes us sluggish, surprisingly. Playing with kids, pets, maybe joining a sports team good for body, mind, and self-esteem. And maybe the biggest one, just become really aware of your daily routines and consciously swap out the bad habits for better ones. Small changes add up. They're the foundation.
That's a great foundation. Okay, let's shift gears slightly to something really fascinating that ties a lot of this together: flow. I think many of you listening have felt this. You're totally absorbed. Time just vanishes. Your ego kind of dissolves, like that perfect ski run example in the book. No future, no past, only the present, total focus. That's flow.
You nailed it. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the psychologist who really pioneered the research called flow, a key ingredient for happiness, that optimal experience. And what's amazing is his research showed it's universal. It doesn't matter your age or culture, New York, Okinawa, wherever. When you're in flow, he said, your mind is in order, just focused, clear, no distractions.
Okay, so if flow is that good for us, how do we get more of it? How do we actually, set the stage for it? What are the conditions?
Well, Owen Schaefer broke it down into 7 key conditions. First, you need to know what to do, and crucially, know how to do it. You also need feedback, knowing how well you're doing. If it involves moving around, like sports, knowing where to go is important. And then the big ones, you need significant challenges, but also you need to perceive that you have significant skills to meet them. It has to be balanced. And the final piece, maybe the hardest today, being free from distractions.
Ah, that last one, freedom from distractions. That feels like the Mount Everest of modern life. How do we even start with that?
It's huge, isn't it? And it leads right into the practical strategies. Strategy 1 is choosing the right level of challenge. Like Schaefer's model suggests, it needs to be slightly outside our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Think about picking up a book on quantum physics. If you know nothing, it's probably too hard, you'll get frustrated. If you're already an expert, it might be too easy, boring. Flow happens in that sweet spot where it stretches you just enough. That's when time flies.
The sweet spot. Got it. What about having a clear goal? That feels like something we often lack in just daily life.
You're spot on. That's strategy 2. Have a clear, concrete objective. It's why things like video games, board games, sports, they induce flow so easily. The goal is crystal clear. Compare that to the corporate world, where you often hear people say their boss doesn't communicate the team's mission clearly. No clear target, hard to find flow. This connects to Joyito's idea of compass over maps. In a world that changes so fast, a rigid map might be useless tomorrow. But a compass, a clear objective or direction, keeps you oriented.
So know where you're generally heading, but don't get bogged down in a super rigid plan, then just dive into the doing.
Exactly that. You need to have a clear objective, but know how to leave it behind when we get down to business. Think about an Olympic athlete. If they're constantly thinking, I have to win gold, they'll likely choke. Their focus has to be on the execution, the process right now, or a writer facing a blank page. Obsessing over the finished novel is paralyzing. You just need to write the next word, then the next. The objective guides, but flow comes from immersion in the process itself.
Makes sense. And then strategy 3, circling back. Eliminate distractions. It sounds so simple, but given everything pulling at our attention, it's vital for flow, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. You need that distraction-free space and, crucially, a sense of control over what you're doing. There was a study of Fear, Nass, and Wagner that was quite eye-opening. They found multitasking tanks productivity like by 60%. It also messes with memory and ramps up stress. They had people track red arrows while ignoring blue ones, the habitual multitaskers. Their brains were basically trained to pay attention to everything. They couldn't filter out the irrelevant blue arrows effectively.
Wow. So multitasking isn't just inefficient, it's actually training our brains for distraction. That's kind of alarming.
It really is. Think about the contrast. Flow state. Focused mind, living in the present, free from worry, feeling in control. Distracted state. Wandering mind, dwelling on past or future, worries creeping in, feeling like you're losing control. Some practical tips, maybe try batching tasks, like do all your research in one block, writing in another, editing later, assign them times, maybe even different places. And bundle routine stuff, emails, calls, invoices, just knock it all out in one go.
It really sounds like the Japanese culture, in many ways, deeply understands and integrates this dedication to flow.
Oh, absolutely. You see it everywhere, from their takumis, the master artisans, to engineers, inventors, even otakus, those passionate anime and manga fans. They get flow. There's even a word, ganbaru, which means to persevere or do one's best. It reflects this ingrained approach, this intense focus, even on seemingly simple tasks.
Like those artisans making the makeup brushes you researched.
Exactly that example. We were in Kumano, near Hiroshima, doing this photo essay, saw all these factory stages, but not the actual bristle assembly. Turns out it was done in this small, hidden room. Quiet, natural light, just one woman wearing a mask, meticulously putting the bristles together, completely absorbed. A perfect picture of flow.
And the Jiro Dreams of Sushi documentary. That's become such a classic example, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely quintessential. Jiro and his son, making sushi for decades, still going to the market every single day. I remember the apprentice practicing the tamago omelet for years before getting Jiro's nod. That dedication isn't boring to them. Making sushi is their Ikigai. They're constantly in flow, finding deep happiness in the work itself. They got Michelin stars but didn't expand. Why? To keep the environment quiet, peaceful, to concentrate, to talk about being one with the object, which ties into Shinto beliefs about kami or spirits and things. That deep connection, that respect for the craft enables flow.
And you see it with artists, too, like Haruki Murakami, being famously reclusive to protect that creative space. But what about just regular boring tasks? Can we find flow there, like microflow?
Definitely. Think about that smiling elevator operator at Shinjuku Station in Tokyo. Same repetitive job since 2004, but always seems engaged, enthusiastic. She finds microflow in the precision, the interaction. And this actually points towards meditation as a great tool, a sort of antidote to our smartphones. Yeah. It's not necessarily about achieving total mental silence, which is really hard. It's more about the practice, the journey of noticing your thoughts, letting them go, gently bringing your focus back, slowing down that mental centrifuge. You know, Japanese rituals often emphasize the process, the manners, how you do something, sometimes more than the end result itself. That naturally helps create flow. It's quite different from many Western workplaces that are just constantly stressed, chasing unclear goals.
That's a really powerful connection back to you listening right now. Maybe the happiest people aren't always the ones with the biggest achievements, but the ones who spend more time in that state of flow. So worth asking yourself, what activities consistently get you there? Of course, life isn't always flow states, is it? We all hit roadblocks. Challenges are just part of the deal. There's that great Japanese proverb, Nanakorobi Aoki, fall 7 times, rise 8. It captures that spirit, but it feels like it's about more than just grit.
It is. It points towards resilience, our ability to deal with setbacks. But resilience isn't just bouncing back to where you were. It's also an outlook, right? A way to stay focused on what truly matters, not just the urgent stuff. And importantly, not getting completely derailed by negative emotions. It's about adapting, recovering, and moving forward.
And the book draws on some ancient wisdom here, like Buddhism and Stoicism, for building that emotional resilience. How do they help?
They offer really complementary insights. Think about the Buddha. He tried extreme wealth, then extreme hardship, and found neither worked. He landed on the middle path. It's not about denying pleasure, but enjoying things consciously without letting them control you. Stoicism, with Zeno, is actually quite similar. Enjoy life's good things, but always be mentally prepared that they might disappear. The goal is tranquility, apatheia, not apathy, but freedom from destructive emotions like fear and anger, and the presence of positive ones like joy and gratitude.
So cultivating an inner calm that isn't dependent on everything going perfectly outside, and that Stoic idea of negative visualization Sounds a bit grim, but what's the point?
It does sound odd, but Seneca, who was incredibly wealthy, practiced it. He'd imagine losing his wealth, his status, even live very simply for periods. The idea isn't to wallow, but to mentally rehearse potential loss so it doesn't shatter you if it happens. It builds appreciation for what you have now. Like Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Worrying about things outside your control, pointless, achieve nothing. And Zen meditation fits here too. Observing thoughts, emotions without getting swept away. Training the mind not to latch onto anger, jealousy. Even mantras like Om Mani Padme Hum are meant to help purify those negative states. Marcus Aurelius also read about impermanence. Seeing loved ones, possessions like leaves on a tree, beautiful but temporary. Not to be morbid, but to deepen our love for the present. Seneca again. All things human are short-lived and perishable. Accepting that is key.
Accepting impermanence. That leads beautifully into two other Japanese concepts, wabi-sabi and ichigo-ichi. Can you unpack those for us? How do they help embrace this?
Sure. Wabi-sabi is all about finding beauty in things that are imperfect, incomplete, and transient. It values the flawed, like a cracked teacup, because its imperfections tell a story connected to nature. Think about Japanese wooden architecture, like the Grand Shrine of Ayas. It's rebuilt every 20 years. They're not trying to preserve the physical building forever, like, say, Greek temples. They're preserving the customs, the process, embracing the cycle of decay and renewal. It's a profound acceptance of impermanence. And ichigo-ichi, literally one time, one meeting. It means this exact moment, this encounter will never happen again in quite the same way. You hear it often in Japan, maybe before a tea ceremony or meeting friends. It's a reminder to be fully present, to cherish the uniqueness of the moment, whether it's with people or just noticing something beautiful. Don't get lost regretting yesterday or worrying about tomorrow.
Okay, so resilience is about bouncing back, and these concepts help us accept impermanence. But is it possible to do more than just recover? Can we actually get stronger from challenges?
Yes. And that's where Nassim Nicholas Taleb's idea of anti-fragility comes in. It's brilliant. Think of the Hydra in Greek myth. Cut off one head, two grow back. That's anti-fragile. It doesn't just resist shocks, it benefits from them. Taleb's point is, the resilient resists shocks and stays the same. The anti-fragile gets better.
Think about the 2011 tsunami in Japan. Horrific, yes. But many communities rebuilt with better defenses, stronger infrastructure, having learned from the disaster. They became anti-fragile.
That's a powerful shift in thinking. So how can you listening actually become more anti-fragile? What are the steps? Taleb offers some really practical strategies. Step 1, create redundancies. Basically, don't have all your eggs in one basket. If you rely on a single salary, you're fragile to losing that job. But if you have multiple income streams, like many Ogimi villagers who farm on the side, you're more robust. Same applies to friendships, interests. Diversify, because the unexpected will happen. Having backups makes you anti-fragile. Step 2 is about how you take risks. Bet conservatively with most of your resources, but take lots of small, high-potential risks with a small portion. Think finance. Maybe 90% of your savings in safe investments, but the other 10% spread across 10 small, speculative bets like startups. This way, you limit your downside. You can't be wiped out, but you keep the potential for significant upside. Allows for great reward without exposing ourselves to dangers that might sink us. And step 3, which I really like, get rid of things that make you fragile. Actively remove the downsides. Ask yourself honestly, what makes me fragile? What habits, relationships, obligations consistently drain you or expose you to harm? Forget just adding new goals for resolutions. Set good riddance goals. Stop snacking. Cut sweets to once a week. Pay off that nagging debt. Avoid toxic people. Limit doom scrolling. Removing those fragile points strengthens you immensely. Then when setbacks do happen, you see them as opportunities for growth, fueled by this anti-fragile mindset.
It's really inspiring stuff. But theory is one thing. What about the people who actually live this? Can we hear from some of those long-lived individuals who embody Ikigai?
Oh, absolutely. Their stories are incredible. Look at supercentenarians. Maria Brunhas Moreira, 118 years old. Apparently still danced, never ate meat. Jean Calment lived to 122, rode her bike till 100, lived alone till 110, quit smoking at 120. Known for her wit. Famously said, I see badly, I hear badly, and I feel bad, but everything's fine. Amazing attitude. Walter Broning, 114, ate just 2 meals a day, worked as long as he could, kept his mind and body busy, always.
Incredible resilience and spirit. And the community in Ogimi, Japan, the Village of Longevity, they offer collective wisdom too, right?
They really do. It's a living example. Their social structure is built around moai, these tight-knit groups like family, supporting each other through everything. Volunteer work is huge there. It's about contribution, feeling useful, not just money. That keeps everyone connected. Their social life is incredibly active, centered around community hubs. One resident even said, food is the least important thing at gatherings. The secret is smiling and having a good time. We heard about a birthday party where the youngest guest was 83. Imagine that.
83 being the youngster. Amazing. What kind of advice, what secrets did they share directly?
Their wisdom is often so simple, yet profound. One person said, the key to staying sharp in old age is in your fingers, emphasizing using your hands, dexterity. Another shared a routine. I get up at 4 every day, have a cup of coffee, and do a little exercise. That gives me energy. Food wisdom. I eat a bit of everything. I think that's the secret. Balance and variety. A recurring theme. Working. If you don't work, your body breaks down. Purposeful activity. One beautifully put it. Doing many different things every day. Always staying busy, but doing one thing at a time. Focus, but variety. Another summed up the lifestyle. Secret to long life is going to bed early, waking up early, and going for a walk. Living peacefully and enjoying the little things, getting along with your friends, enjoying each season happily. And just the sheer optimism, a 98-year-old saying, I consider myself young, I still have so much to do. That's Ikigai in action.
Truly inspiring voices. And it's not limited to elders, is it? Artists often seem to embody this idea of carrying their Ikigai right through life, never really retiring in the traditional sense.
That's a great point. They really do. Think of Hokusai, the Japanese artist. Lived to 88. At 73, he said everything he'd done before was basically practice. He aimed that by 110, every point and every line he drew would be instinct with life. Constantly striving, deepening his craft. Or Ellsworth Kelly, the painter, who passed at 92. He spoke about finding greater clarity and capacity for observation as he got older. Every day I'm continuing to see new things. That's why the work continued. And Frank Gehry, the architect, still working in his late 80s, talking about patience, staying curious about everything. That keeps you engaged, keeps you vital.
So when we bring all these threads together, purpose, flow, resilience, community, lifelong learning, Ikigai really emerges as this beautiful art of living. It reminds me of the calligrapher Mitsuo Aida. He found his Ikigai in expressing emotion through his art. He said happiness is always determined by your heart, and also keep going. Don't change your path.
Perfectly put. So to kind of wrap this up for you, the listener, what are the core takeaways? The actionable principles from this deep dive. Stay active. Don't retire from the things that give you purpose. Take it slow. Remember, walk slowly and you'll go far. Don't stuff yourself, that 80% rule. Surround yourself with good friends. They're like medicine, as the Okinawans know. Get in shape for your next birthday. Keep moving daily. Smile. That cheerful attitude makes a huge difference. Reconnect with nature, give thanks, appreciate what you have, and maybe the biggest, live in the moment. Stop dwelling on the past or fearing the future. Right now, today is all you really have. Make it count.
Powerful advice distilled from so much wisdom. And perhaps to leave you with one final thought to chew on, inspired by Mitsuo Aida. If happiness is always determined by your heart, what's one small intentional thing you can do today, right now, to align your heart just a little bit more closely with your own Ikigai?